Have you ever wondered how intermittent fasting aids in weight loss? Today we're going to examine the science behind it. Intermittent fasting, a term that might sound complex, is simply an eating pattern that alternates between periods of eating and fasting. Recently it's been making waves in the weight loss community, and for good reason. But what makes it so effective? What's the science behind this seemingly simple dietary approach? This video aims to demystify the intricate biological, metabolic, and psychological mechanisms at play when we practice intermittent fasting. We'll also highlight the latest research findings that support its efficacy and discuss the role of individualization in implementing this diet plan. And to keep things interesting, we'll pepper in some real-life success stories and practical tips along the way. So, buckle up as we embark on this fascinating exploration of intermittent fasting. First things first, what exactly is intermittent fasting? Well, it's essentially a dietary pattern that cycles between periods of eating and fasting. Unlike traditional diets, intermittent fasting doesn't dictate what foods you should eat. Instead, it focuses on when you should eat. It's all about timing. Three common methods of intermittent fasting are the 16-8 method, the 5-2 diet, and alternate day fasting. Let's break these down, shall we? The 16-8 method is arguably the most popular. This method involves fasting every day for 14 to 16 hours and limiting your daily eating window to 8 to 10 hours. Within this window you can fit in 2, 3, or more meals. This might sound daunting, but remember, you're likely to be asleep for a good chunk of the fasting period. Next up, the 5-2 diet. This method involves eating normally 5 days of the week while restricting calories to 500 to 600 on 2 non-consecutive days. So, for 2 days you're on a calorie-restricted diet, and for the rest of the week, you eat as you usually would. Finally, we have alternate day fasting. This method involves fasting every other day. Some versions of this diet allow about 500 calories during fasting days. It's a bit more extreme than the other methods and might not be suitable for beginners or those with certain health conditions. So, why the focus on when you eat rather than what you eat? Well, it's all about giving your body time to go into a fasting state where some interesting metabolic shifts happen. These shifts can influence things like insulin sensitivity, hormonal regulation, and even cellular repair processes. But remember, intermittent fasting isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. It's a tool that can be customized to fit individual lifestyles and health goals. It's not about starvation. It's about reorganizing your eating patterns in a way that could potentially benefit your health. Now that we have a basic understanding, let's delve into how intermittent fasting works in our body. The biological mechanism of intermittent fasting is rooted in our evolutionary history. Picture our ancient ancestors, living in a world where food wasn't always readily available. Their bodies had to adapt to function optimally during periods of scarcity, and this survival mechanism is still ingrained in us today. When we eat, our body primarily burns the calories we've just consumed for energy. However, when we fast, something interesting happens. Our body transitions from this fed state and enters a fasted state. In this state, insulin levels drop significantly, signaling the body that it's time to start burning stored energy because no food is coming in. Insulin is a hormone that plays a major role in this process. When we eat, our body releases insulin to help with the absorption of sugars from the bloodstream and promote their storage in fat cells. High insulin levels tell our body to store energy, while low levels signal it to release and use that stored energy. As we continue fasting, our body exhausts its sugar stores and needs to find a new source of fuel. This is where the magic of fat burning kicks in. Our liver begins to convert our fat reserves into ketone bodies, a type of fuel that some of our cells can use in place of sugar. This transition to burning fat for energy is key to the weight loss benefits of intermittent fasting. It's like having a backup generator that kicks in when the main power source goes out. The longer we fast, the more our body digs into its fat reserves for energy, leading to weight loss. But remember, while the process may sound simple, it's a complex symphony of hormonal and metabolic changes that takes place over hours to days. It's not an instant switch, but a gradual transition that's guided by our body's inherent wisdom. To sum up, intermittent fasting pushes our body to tap into its fat reserves, leading to weight loss. It's a fascinating journey into the depths of our biology, showing us that sometimes the old ways of doing things can have a modern twist. Intermittent fasting triggers profound metabolic changes. This isn't just a catchy phrase to enthrall you, it's a scientific fact. As we delve into the metabolic adaptations during intermittent fasting, we'll unravel the how and why behind its effectiveness in promoting weight loss and enhancing overall health. Here's the intriguing part. During fasting periods, our bodies undergo a significant transformation. We shift from relying on glucose, derived from our most recent meal, to tapping into stored fat for energy. This process, known as fat oxidation, is like turning on a backup generator when the main power supply is off. Now you might be thinking, won't this lead to muscle loss? Surprisingly, no. Research shows that intermittent fasting actually helps preserve lean muscle mass. It's like your body's smart system that knows to burn fat while keeping those hard-earned muscles intact. Another fascinating aspect of intermittent fasting is the increase in metabolic rate. You might have heard the term metabolism tossed around in weight loss discussions. Simply put, it's the rate at which your body burns calories. During fasting, the body's metabolic rate can increase, helping you burn more calories and lose weight more effectively. But there's more to intermittent fasting than just weight loss. It also triggers a process called autophagy. Picture autophagy as your body's internal housekeeping service. It involves the breakdown and recycling of damaged cell components, a kind of out with the old, in with the new scenario. This contributes to improved cellular function and health. Intermittent fasting is not just about flipping the metabolic switch from glucose to fat. It's a holistic approach that enhances various aspects of our metabolic health. It boosts fat oxidation, preserves lean muscle, increases metabolic rate, and promotes autophagy. These metabolic shifts not only promote weight loss, but also contribute to overall health. So, while the scales might be the first thing you notice changing with intermittent fasting, remember there's a whole lot of good happening on the inside too. The psychological aspects of intermittent fasting are just as important. Let's delve into this a bit further. One of the primary psychological benefits of intermittent fasting is its ability to simplify meal planning. With fewer meals to prepare, individuals often find they have more time to dedicate to other activities, reducing everyday stress levels. Rather than worrying about what to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you might find yourself considering just 2 meals a day. This shift can free up mental space and allow for a more mindful approach to food. Intermittent fasting also encourages a more conscious connection with hunger cues. When we're constantly eating or thinking about our next meal, we can become disconnected from our body's natural hunger signals. By introducing periods of fasting, we're better able to understand and respond to these cues, leading to a healthier relationship with food. But the psychological benefits of intermittent fasting don't stop there. Many people report experiencing improved mental clarity and mood during their fasting periods. While the exact reasons for this are still being explored, it's thought that the body's shift from using glucose to ketones as a primary energy source may play a role. Ketones produced during periods of fasting or reduced carbohydrate intake are not only a highly efficient fuel source for the brain, but they also have neuroprotective properties. This could be why some individuals find they're more focused and productive during their fasting windows. It's as if the noise of constant digestion is turned down, and the mind is free to focus on other tasks. Of course, everyone's experience with intermittent fasting will be unique, and it's essential to listen to your body and adjust your fasting schedule as needed. It's not about deprivation, but rather about finding a balance that works for you and supports your overall well-being. So, intermittent fasting offers both physical and mental benefits, which together contribute to sustainable weight loss. And that's the beauty of it. Intermittent fasting isn't just about shedding pounds. It's about enhancing your overall health and well-being. Now let's look at some science-backed evidence supporting intermittent fasting for weight loss. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that intermittent fasting can lead to significant weight loss. Participants in the study followed an intermittent fasting regimen for 6 months and lost on average 10% of their body weight. That's the equivalent of a 200-pound individual losing 20 pounds. Further evidence comes from a study published in the Journal of Obesity, which compared the effects of intermittent fasting and continuous calorie restriction. The researchers found that both methods resulted in similar weight loss, but interestingly, the intermittent fasting group retained more lean muscle mass. Now, let's talk about insulin, a hormone that plays a key role in weight management. A study in the journal Cell Metabolism discovered that intermittent fasting improves insulin sensitivity, which in turn can help with weight loss. Improved insulin sensitivity means that your body can better regulate blood sugar levels, reducing cravings, and helping you feel fuller for longer. We also have evidence from real-life success stories. Take, for example, the story of John, a 45-year-old man who struggled with his weight for years. After adopting an intermittent fasting regimen, he managed to lose 50 pounds in just 6 months. Or consider Sarah, a 30-year-old woman who, after trying numerous diets with no success, turned to intermittent fasting and lost 30 pounds in 4 months. It's not just about weight loss, though. Intermittent fasting can also have profound effects on your overall health. A study in the New England Journal of Medicine found that intermittent fasting can lead to improvements in blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and even brain health. While the science is promising, it's important to remember that everyone's body is different, and what works for one person may not work for another. As with any dietary change, it's best to consult with a healthcare professional before starting an intermittent fasting regimen. The science is clear. Intermittent fasting can be a powerful tool for weight loss. Despite its proven benefits, there are several misconceptions around intermittent fasting. Let's start with the fear of muscle loss. A common belief is that fasting will cause your body to break down muscle for energy, but this is far from the truth. Your body is smarter than you think. During fasting, it first depletes glucose stores before switching to fat for fuel. Protein, the building blocks of muscle, is spared as much as possible. In fact, studies show that intermittent fasting can help preserve muscle mass while shedding fat, especially when paired with resistance training. Moving on to the second myth, the dreaded starvation mode. The term starvation mode is often misused to instill fear that fasting will slow your metabolism to a crawl, causing you to stop losing weight or even gain weight. However, short-term fasting, like the kinds used in intermittent fasting, actually increases your metabolic rate, helping you burn more calories. The true starvation mode only occurs after prolonged periods of severe calorie restriction, not the short-term fasting used in intermittent fasting. Last but not least, let's address the notion that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. This idea has been ingrained in our minds by tradition and well-intentioned advice, but it's not an absolute rule. For some people, eating breakfast is beneficial and helps them feel energized for the day. For others, skipping breakfast and breaking their fast later in the day works better for their bodies and schedules. Remember, intermittent fasting is about finding a pattern of eating that fits your lifestyle and makes you feel your best. Each person's body responds differently to fasting, and the key is to listen to your body and adjust accordingly. Don't let these misconceptions deter you from exploring the potential health benefits of intermittent fasting. By debunking these myths, we can approach intermittent fasting with a more informed perspective. As we look towards the future, ongoing research continues to shed light on the benefits of intermittent fasting. In the years to come, we can anticipate more comprehensive studies on this fascinating dietary approach. With the advent of advanced research tools and methodologies, scientists are now capable of examining intermittent fasting at a molecular and cellular level, providing us with far-reaching insights that were previously unattainable. One of the most exciting prospects is the exploration of how intermittent fasting impacts our gut microbiome. This complex ecosystem within our body plays a crucial role in our overall health and well-being, including weight management. Preliminary studies hint at the potential of intermittent fasting to foster a more diverse and balanced gut microbiome, which could enhance our metabolic efficiency and bolster weight loss efforts. Another promising area of research is the intersection of intermittent fasting and genetics. There's growing evidence that our genetic makeup can influence how our bodies respond to different dietary patterns. Future studies may help us understand which individuals are most likely to benefit from intermittent fasting based on their unique genetic profiles. This personalized approach to dieting could revolutionize weight management, making it more effective and sustainable. Furthermore, we're seeing a surge in research examining the potential neuroprotective effects of intermittent fasting. This includes studies on how it might slow cognitive decline and promote brain health, expanding its benefits beyond weight loss. However, it's important to keep in mind that while the future of intermittent fasting appears promising, we're still in the early stages of understanding its full potential and implications. Every new discovery brings with it a fresh set of questions and challenges, but that's the beauty of science. It's a never-ending journey of exploration and learning. As we continue to delve deeper into the world of intermittent fasting, we'll undoubtedly uncover more about its effects on our bodies and how we can harness its power for healthier living. As the science evolves, so too will our understanding of intermittent fasting and its role in weight loss.